In recent years, US politics has been the scene of much drama, and now there's another chapter. As the lower chamber of Congress, the House of Representatives has failed to elect a Speaker, the first time that has happened in a century. In the last couple of hours, Kevin McCarthy failed for a fifth time in 2 days to get elected to the role.
His party, the Republicans, are facing a split. Those loyal to former President Donald Trump see McCarthy as too mainstream. Without a Speaker, the House can't pass things like spending bills.
No member-elect having received a majority of the votes cast, a Speaker has not been elected.
I will always fight to put the American people first, not a few individuals that want something for themselves. So we may have a battle on the floor, but the battle is for the conference and the country, and that's fine with me.
Well, let's chat now to Rina Shah. She was a senior aide and policy advisor to the Republican Party. Rina, a very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us, because this story is still playing out in real time. A sixth vote has just been taking place, and it looks like Kevin McCarthy might fail once again to be elected with a majority.
Yes, indeed. This is a second historic day here in Washington, D.C. It's a day unlike any other I remember in terms of the ceremonial nature. This was supposed to be a very normal day yesterday, and here we are after 6 rounds of voting. And what's actually most striking is that Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat, who is thought to be the leader, of course, and the heir apparent to the leader for the minority in the House, he has even beat McCarthy in the number of votes in every single round of voting. This is looking like a terrible, no good, again, very bad day for Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, and maybe you can help to explain for a UK audience just what is going on right now within the Republican Party, that they can't seem to come together behind one figure for this hugely important job.
Well, let me distill it down to this. There are huge fractures, within the Republican Party. And there are these factions of people that still support former President Trump. There are people who are now lukewarm about former President Trump, despite his having announced his 2024 bid already. And then there are people like myself who didn't vote for Trump twice and never supported him from the outset. And so the party is very much characterized by Trump. But the funny thing is that former President Trump did endorse Kevin McCarthy for this speaker's race. And despite hearing that he has reached out to people who are holding out on voting for Kevin McCarthy, fellow Republicans who still will not give McCarthy their vote to become speaker, Trump has been unsuccessful in getting these people to cross over. Yeah. So these people, about 20 of them, they are, again, Republicans who should have voted for McCarthy. This was supposed to be a coronation of sorts. This is a formality. In 100 years, no other speaker has had to go to a second ballot. And so what we're seeing is infighting come to the surface, and there's no path forward at this very moment in time.
Well, indeed, because the alternative candidates haven't got even close to having enough support. So what do you think happens now?
Well, what has to happen is that whoever becomes speaker has to form a majority from the number of people voting. That number is 218, and Kevin McCarthy has not been able to get there. There have been a few different scenarios that have been floated, one which would include, people leaving the room and essentially just not showing up for the vote, and that would decrease the number of McCarthy needs in order to win. There's been talk of Democrats potentially forming a coalition with somebody who's more center-right than Kevin McCarthy, perhaps somebody like a Congressman Fred Upton, who voted to impeach Trump. Somebody like that could be more palatable to Democrats. Or there could be another scenario in which maybe, and this is an out there scenario, that Republicans cross over to give Hakeem Jeffries, I believe it would be just 5 or 6 votes to give him the speakership. And that would be really unusual because, again, that's Republicans giving it to Democrats. But right now it's Republicans withholding the speakership from their own.
Well, Rina, we'll let you get back to observing all of this going on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on The Nine. Rina Shah.
Certainly. Thank you.